Hey guys, it's Kevin here. It's been a little bit since I've posted, but it's been, 2 crazy weeks in terms of work. And actually, some of my recent work is related to crypto. So today I thought we could talk about the basics around cryptocurrency, specifically Bitcoin and Ethereum, what they are, why they're becoming more mainstream, and whether you should consider investing in them. Before we jump in, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel to learn more about this and other topics in personal finance. And don't forget to hit that notification bell. All right, let's talk about cryptocurrency as a whole. Cryptocurrency is any digital asset where every record and action is stored and secured using cryptography. You can think about this like a ledger. So you might start off with a balance of 0 and you buy some cryptocurrency, you sell some cryptocurrency, you spend some of it to buy something, and you sum up all of these transactions to get your current balance. But unlike with fiat currency, you're not trusting a bank or a government entity to secure your money. Instead, you're trusting that the ledger itself is accurate, because before any transaction can get added to that ledger, it has to be secured and validated. New transactions get added to the ledger in blocks. So starting from block 0, you start adding new blocks of transactions, and each block can only be added once an entity known as a miner solves a cryptographic puzzle, and this is known as proof of work. So rather than your history of transactions and the amount of money you have being stored in some bank database, in crypto, the ledger of transactions is public and confirmed by many different miners. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency and came out in 2009. It was the first to socialize the concept of a decentralized asset. I really think it served as, in the early days, a form of experiment as to what a censorship-resistant form of money exchange could do. The first uses that Bitcoin saw really was as the form of currency on black market sites like the Silk Road. Back then, Bitcoin was in some ways easy and hard to come by. It was hard because there just weren't that many ways to buy Bitcoin with cash back then. But if you had your own mining rig, you could pretty easily mine new Bitcoin as a reward for solving those cryptographic puzzles. Things started to change in around 2013 or so when more companies started giving people the ability to buy and trade Bitcoin with cash. I remember when Coinbase was giving out sign-up bonuses for their platform, and with that sign-up bonus, you could probably buy about half a Bitcoin back then. And ever since then, Bitcoin's been on this rise as more and more institutions have continued to invest and build the narrative around Bitcoin. Even people like Jamie Dimon, the CEO of JP Morgan, have gone from calling Bitcoin a fraud in 2014, 2015, 2016, 2017, to cozying up with the heads of Coinbase and Gemini, some of the biggest crypto exchanges in the US, and even launching their own JP Morgan cryptocurrency back in 2018, I think. Ethereum came about 5 years after the introduction of Bitcoin in 2014. It was similar to Bitcoin in the sense that it was based on a decentralized blockchain where blocks of transactions were recorded on a ledger. But there were two major differences between Ethereum and Bitcoin. One is that Bitcoin is a singular asset, which means people can only send, receive, and hold Bitcoin. But on Ethereum, people can code programs called smart contracts, which can perform different functions on the Ethereum blockchain. There are now smart contracts built on Ethereum that allow you to exchange tokens without human input, lend and earn interest on your crypto, and even create new cryptocurrencies on top of the Ethereum blockchain. And on that last point, there are thousands of tokens that are, that exist on the Ethereum blockchain. This has led to some interesting products like stablecoins, which is a class of cryptocurrencies where the asset is pegged to the value of the US dollar. And that makes it a lot easier as a form of exchange on the blockchain. So why does cryptocurrency have any monetary value? It kind of seems like they popped up overnight, and so they should be, kind of worthless, right? First, we actually need to understand what money is. Money is any asset that is a unit of account, a store of value, and a medium of exchange. A long time ago, cattle or bushels of wheat could have been considered a unit of currency, and then it became gold coins, and then it was paper money backed by gold, and then it was the US dollar being the base currency for all the other currencies in the world. And now, it's just a floating exchange rate between all of the fiat currencies in the world, as mostly determined by financial institutions. So the biggest reasons why crypto is worth anything is because it will continue to be a store of value, it will continue to be accepted as a medium of exchange, And there's only a finite number of these tokens that will ever exist. In the case of Bitcoin, when it first came out, it was really pretty speculative. But just in the last 10 years, it's transformed that narrative and now is becoming increasingly seen as a store of value, a digital gold of sorts, which is really incredible because that transformation has occurred in just 10 years. The longer Bitcoin survives, the more that narrative around Bitcoin as digital gold grows. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy because there's enough true believers in Bitcoin that will continue to support it so that it always retains its value. So as more people are introduced to the space and more adoption occurs, Bitcoin further cements itself as a store of value. Ethereum, I think, is valuable because it's continued to evolve and become better at being a medium of exchange. Ethereum already supports 3 times as many transactions per second as Bitcoin, and that discrepancy is only expected to grow in the future. Actually, because Ethereum has been so popular and there are so many applications and people trying to send transactions on the Ethereum blockchain, it's actually caused some congestion. So some transactions have had to wait a little bit before they get added to the ledger. However, there are plans to migrate Ethereum to a V2 version in 2021 that will greatly speed up the number of transactions that can get processed per second. Both of these cryptocurrencies have a finite number of tokens that will ever be produced, whereas modern fiat currencies are inflationary by the nature of government actions such as quantitative easing. Bitcoin and Ethereum are deflationary. Once the maximum number of tokens is minted sometime in 2140, if there's continued usage and demand for these tokens in everyday life, then each token can only go up in value. So should you invest? Well, I believe in human greed. There have been many times in history where traders and financiers create new financial products, and as long as those products make money, people hop on the bandwagon. We have to remember that things like credit default swaps and even index funds were financial innovations that were only created in the last 50 years. So even though the origins of cryptocurrency are in censorship resistance, crypto is being made mainstream by large financial institutions like Square and PayPal, the latter of which is buying up 70% of all the newly mined Bitcoin last month. 2 other macro factors that could provide tailwinds to Bitcoin and Ethereum. The first is that the US government continues to print massive amounts of money in the name of quantitative easing. And so that means that all existing cash is being devalued. And so crypto is in some ways being seen as a hedge against inflation. The other tailwind is that the continued political polarization in the US means that maybe some people will want to buy into a monetary system that isn't in the hands of any single government. Bitcoin and Ethereum have generated massive returns for early investors, but even at their current market caps of $340 billion and $65 billion respectively, there's still opportunity, I think, here. They could easily 10x in the next couple of years as crypto becomes more mainstream. So say you're convinced now that crypto should be part of your overall investment portfolio. The other question to answer now is now a good time to invest? Crypto has been traditionally a pretty volatile asset, so there's a couple of different ways you could play this here. If you're a short-term investor, you can usually scalp 2 to 3% intraday due to the huge swings in their daily and weekly charts. If you're more of a swing trader, it's probably a little bit late now, but both Ethereum and Bitcoin are on huge upswings and are probably likely to break all-time highs in the next couple of weeks. But if you're not trying to become an expert trader, then I think really any time, including now, is a good time to buy and hold Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I wish I had taken my own advice back in 2013. I had, I think, 4 Bitcoin just sitting in my account, hovering at $500 a piece. And I was like, these aren't moving anywhere, so I can make better returns somewhere else. So I liquidated them. I invested them, I think, in some stocks, but I definitely didn't make 36x my money in that time period like I would if I just held on to those Bitcoin. So if you're interested in getting some exposure into Bitcoin or Ethereum, I'd recommend trying Coinbase, which I think is one of the best platforms for helping new investors get up to speed with crypto. Not only do they give you a sign-up reward, but they also have this learning center where you get paid to learn about other crypto products. For example, by going through and answering questions correctly about Stellar, you can get rewarded in Stellar tokens. Right now, there's more than $130 worth of tokens that you can get rewarded with just for learning, which I think is really cool. And if you want, I'd love for you to use my referral link for Coinbase, which you can find in the description down below. That's it for this video. It was a little bit longer than usual because really with crypto, we're only scratching the surface here. There's a lot more complexity, and in future videos, I'll cover some of the more interesting products out there like swapping pools and yield farming. So if you want more content on crypto, make sure to smash that like button and leave a comment down below. And to get notified about future videos, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell. Until next time. Bitcoin was the first cryptocurrency, at least as kind of we consider it in the modern day, and came out in 2019. Every transaction before it's added to the ledger has to get confirmed and verified.
Sometimes I'll start a sentence and I don't even know where it's going. I just hope I find it along the way.